If you've just tuned in, we're in San Diego, California at Jack Murphy Stadium for round 4 of the Camel Supercross Series. This is Ty Davis, number 26. He's leading the 125cc main event. Davis took the whole shot at the outset. He's not been challenged. Behind him, though, a battle raging for the number 2 position.
Got a lapped rider in there for just a moment, but it's number 29, Steve Lamson, trying to hold off Jeremy McGrath on the Kawasaki. They've been second and third all the way. Now they've closed it up and made a battle out of it, and the guy who's trying to make the moves here is McGrath. Neither of them has threatened Davis, save one brief excursion by Lamson up to Davis' rear wheel, but it's getting hot for second. There's the pass inside. Make the new man in second spot, Jeremy McGrath.
McGrath aboard that Kawasaki, number 125, comes out of Sun City, California, and Pollock Pines, California, is home for Steve Lamson, number 29. Davis, meanwhile, from Hesperia, California, continues to virtually ride unscathed here. There's no one within his sight, and I don't really understand how the guy's getting around the track that fast.
Well, he's got to deal with back markers. You saw the 404 guy. He's a lapper. He's down a lap, and that's the biggest risk for Davis right now. Davis is just being real smooth, and that's been the key for him. You mentioned earlier the 125 motorcycles. The trick to riding this bike is to keep it wound up. You got to keep the RPMs way up high and stir the gearbox a lot to keep the revs up. They don't have the torque of the 250s, so you got to rely on RPMs to get you around. That means you got to be real smooth, and Ty Davis is doing that. This kid says he likes the 125 class.
Oh, I think it's a great idea to jump in the 125 class just because the 250s are loaded with the factory riders. They've more experience, and us younger guys, you know, we don't have the experience as they do. And I think it's a kind of you know, it's going to the 125 class. I think it's just a better way to get warmed up for the big boys.
And the way Ty Davis is riding here, the big boys are right around the corner. He'll make that switch to the 250 class probably next year, and it doesn't look to me like he's going to have much of a problem. Ty Davis from Hesperia, California. He's led this one since the drop of the gate.
You notice that blue flag being held to the back markers. We mentioned them earlier. They're really, trouble here for Ryan Hughes. He has bit the dirt here and is picking his motorcycle back up. He was one of those guys back in the back with a pack when the bike got away from him. And that's really the only obstacle for Davis now, because otherwise he appears to have this thing won.
You mentioned earlier the blue flag, and there we saw it again as Davis come off the top of that finish line jump. The blue flag tells riders that are being lapped that someone is coming up behind you. It simply means don't race with them. They're a lap ahead of you, and get out of their way, frankly. Now here's the battle for the number 5 position. Kyle Lewis aboard that green Kawasaki. Right behind him, the series points leader in this 125cc Western region, Buddy Antonez aboard the Suzuki.
Antonez hadn't gotten much going here tonight. He's been very consistent up until now in the previous series races, but tonight he just doesn't seem to have it dialed. He's gotten close to Lewis now. Maybe that'll give him some momentum, but remember, they're racing for 5th and 6th. It's a long way from the lead.
He doesn't seem to be too happy or comfortable out there, Dave. He's putting the Suzuki into places where it shouldn't be, and it's coming down at funny angles. It could be the suspension is dialed in just a hair off one way or another, and that's enough to throw him off his timing.
What you have to do is push that much harder to try to compensate. If the setup is wrong, you'll try. See there, he's just out of shape all over the racetrack. I think you're right, Larry. I don't think the bike is quite dialed in right. He's not comfortable. As a result, he's making mistakes. But he's challenging Lewis here.
That's what you have to do. The good ones, the guys that lead series. And he goes down. He tried to come to the inside, and I'm not sure just what happened. Let's go back and take another look at that one.
Two bodies cannot occupy the same space at the same time. It's a rule of physics that I think is what applies right here. What Antonez was doing was just trying to seize one of the few opportunities that he had. He saw an opening there. He thought he could get alongside Lewis, but the door closed before he got there. Bad break for the series point leader.
Meanwhile, Ty Davis just keeps chugging along. He's missing a lot of good race action behind him. However, I don't think that he even cares. You know, if he could keep her upright on 2 wheels, find that checkered flag, I think that he would give up a lot of race watching in the future. There's the white one. That indicates 1 lap remaining.
Hey, if you got him beat, go ahead and kill him. Make a rout out of it. It's pretty unusual in this class to see that. But Davis is not the least bit concerned about interval. He's found his lines, he's found his rhythm, and he's just going to ride this thing home a big winner.
And in the process, look at this. He's going to lap a couple of awfully good riders. Last week's winner, number 36, Jeff Emig. And in front of him, the series points leader, Buddy Antonez. We saw Antonez crash just a couple of moments ago, and Antonez is having trouble getting back up to speed.
This is going to make a major shakeup in the point standings, too, because Davis in red was second ranked behind Buddy Antunez, the man he just lapped. With Antunez a lap behind and taking that blue move over flag, Davis is going to inherit a big point lead here. He was fourth in the opener, second last week, and he'll win it big this week.
And a big wave to the crowd. This is the time, Dave, when you start hearing funny noises come out of the engine. You know, you only have a couple of laps to go, or a couple of corners, I should say. No noises there, though. He took the checkered flag, no problem. Davis wins it. Jeremy McGrath in the Kawasaki will finish second. Steve Lamson third. Michael Craig will take the number 4 spot. And rounding out the top 5 is Kyle Lewis aboard that Kawasaki.
And here's what it did to the point standings. Davis and Antunez changed places. Lewis moves up to third, a tie between Craig and Emig for 4.